Here's 7 things to expect at your first tournament style competition. Number 1, big queues. Everyone wants to get there early and weigh in on time. White belts, blue belts, purple belts, most of them have matches quite early on, so everyone wants to get there obviously in time for the bracket. So when you get there, there's going to be a couple of queues for you to weigh in. You've just got to be patient. Everybody's nervous, everybody's just as nervous as you. You're all queuing up, but you'll probably make weight. You'll be totally fine. But anticipate there might be some big queues. You know, take something to keep you occupied if you're on your own. Or if you're with your boys, it's a good chance to have a bit of crack and have a laugh about the matches and stuff like that. But don't worry about everybody around you. Don't be sizing up your competition or wondering who's a blue belt and who's a white belt and who's your weight and who's not. Just focus on making the weight, and then you can figure out everything after that. The next thing to expect if you're a white belt especially is like a deep bracket. For white belts, it's your first chance to compete, and loads of white belts compete. Other higher belts should compete as often, but at white belt, everyone wants to test themselves. Everyone wants to, like, you know, try it out, see what it's like. You've already taken the leap to try jiu-jitsu, you might as well see what you like at competing. So the white belt brackets are often pretty deep. I've competed at white belt, won more matches than other people at higher belts in the same tournament, you know, from my gym and stuff, and they've medalled and I've not, because, you know, I might have won 3 matches in a row, but I didn't even come close to the semis because the brackets have been that deep. I think at the time I was as typical as it gets, so like under 77 kilo, white belt, male, adult, you know what I mean? So I just kind of fell into that category. But it is what it is. You're there for the experience, you're there to, you know, hang out with your boys and hopefully take home some medals. But don't be disheartened, you know, if you win 4 matches in a row but don't win your 5th and you don't medal, you've done better than a lot of the other guys at higher belts would have even come close to. You know, some people win 1 match and win gold, fucking post it all over Instagram and all that. You know, it is what it is. The next thing to expect is aches and pains the next day. You go 100 miles an hour at competition for obvious reasons. Sometimes most of the time you're probably not warmed up properly either. You think you're warm, but then you've got to sit down 20 minutes, wait for your match. It's really hard to time your warm-ups effectively for tournament style competitions. So expect the next day, you know, if you've been battling to get out of a triangle, or you've been ragged down, or you've been chucking other people about, your back, your neck, your shoulders, they're gonna knack. If you've got a physical job the next day, think about putting half a day in. You know, do whatever. Don't plan a mad hike the next day after a competition, because you're going to have some aches and pains. Hopefully no injuries, but, you know, some serious, like, just backache, neck ache, shoulder cramps, things like that. Your arms will probably be killing because you've been tensing your forearms the entire time trying to rag that other white belt's head down. The other thing to expect at these type of competitions is a severe lack of toilet roll. Now, the toilets at these places are obviously busy. Everyone's nervous, everyone's got the shits on the morning. A lot of the times people are like trying to rehydrate, refuel, whatever, and the body's maybe flushing some stuff out of them, so they always run out of toilet roll. So key thing to put in your gym bag, a wise man once told me, was take a roll of toilet roll to a competition with you. The other thing to expect at competitions is nerves. Nerves are natural. If you're not nervous, then you're probably like an MMA fighter or something like that. But most people at these types of competitions get nervous. You're going up against another person. It's a competitive scenario. A decent amount of nerves is actually a good thing. It'll keep you in the right arousal space for competing. Obviously too many nerves can be a bad thing, and not enough nerves can be a bad thing, because you might not be as sharp as you should be with a little bit of adrenaline. Now, they tend to dissipate after your first match, I find anyway, and then you get nervous for your no-gi or your gi or whatever comes first. But that initial adrenaline dump is real. You're going to have to deal with it. You just have to get by. I always think at the end of a competition match or a competition round, I'm absolutely fucked, and I'm like, there is no way I'm going to be able to do 2 or 3 more of these. Just got to take your time, take some deep breaths, let your body recover, and before you know it, you have got some more stuff in your tank. You work hard in the gym, you roll hard in the gym, then you'll be able to perform the match. But that adrenaline dump, those nerves are real. But the key thing to remember is that everybody else is feeling exactly the same way. Another thing to expect is really long breaks between your categories. So if you've signed up to do both gi and no gi, whichever one comes first, there's usually a decent gap between them. It's very rare that you finish your category and then all of a sudden they're like, right, get your no gi on, jump in again. It's usually like a couple of hours, because they've got to get through all the other categories, all the other belts, all the other weight classes for that particular thing, like gi or no gi. So then, let's say it's gi, so you've done your gi rounds first, you goosed, then it might be like literally 2 or 3 hours before your next bracket. I've heard of longer, and it's obviously been shorter before as well, but this is a good time to refuel, a good time to replenish your fluids, get some Lucozade into you, or Lucozade Sport or whatever, and just chill out for a bit. You might want to go to sleep, you might want to go for a walk, get out of the venue, get out of that headspace, or you might just want to like corner your boys, cheer your boys on it, and kind of soak in the atmosphere. Whatever works best for you, you're going to have a bit of a gap. Obviously don't fuck off too far, you're going to make sure that you're close enough so that you get back in time for that, and don't eat too much either, because obviously you don't want to train, you definitely don't want to compete on a full stomach, but anticipate that there might be a gap there. Take a book if you're on your own, or whatever you want to do, you know, make sure you've got plenty of phone charge, and stick a podcast on and just chill out for a bit before you get called for your next bracket, and then it's time to warm up. And the final thing to expect at these types of competitions is to immediately want to do it again once you've done it. If you've lost your first match in both your categories, then you want to sign up again to fucking prove yourself. If you've done amazingly, again, you want to sign up again because you feel awesome and you just want to compete. Even if you've just done all right, you've won a couple of matches, at the end of the day you go, that was fucking awesome, because you got out of your comfort zone, because you tried really hard at something and did something extraordinary. You know, there's a very, very small percentage of people in the entire planet that have competed in jiu-jitsu competitions. It's obviously the percentage is getting bigger, but it's still like a very, very small percentage of people. It does feel great once it's done at the end of the day, so expect to be checking your phone afterwards and sign up for another competition, then 3 weeks out thinking, oh my god, I'm a nervous wreck, why have I done this? At least that's how I feel anyway. But you will feel amazing after your first competition, so anticipate that. Make sure there's some money in your bank to get signed up to another one. So yeah, good luck competing out there. There's obviously tons of other things, but they were just kind of like the first 7 things off the top of my head. We've actually got a blog on the website with like key things to remember, key items to put in your bag, obviously toilet roll, and some snacks and things like that. If you want to take a look at that as well, that'd be really useful. We'll probably do a video on that at some point as well, because it's one of our most well-performing blogs. Good luck, don't get injured, have fun.